Sin City Secrets. I am your host, Melanie Kramer, and today our guest is Sable.
Sable or Samantha, whichever you prefer. Yeah, I have many different aliases, so I'll turn around.
So Sam, she's one of my best friends, and she is in a lot of crazy different worlds, some that you probably don't even know exist. I wanted to start by talking about the professional dom stuff that you used to do back in the day.
Back in the day? Wow, so long ago.
So explain, people don't really understand, like people say they want to do a dom shoot and then they'll come out with a collar that's sub. Explain to people the difference between a dom and a sub and like what that relationship is.
Well, you have sadists and masochists. Sadists are generally those twisted little people that like to create all the fun, terrible things to actually do. So you have to be really creative when you're a dom. You have to constantly be taking consideration. You don't want to go too far, but you need to push the envelope a little bit. As far as a masochist goes, they are all about receiving whatever you want to throw at them. Obviously
pain and stuff too.
There's pain. There's
yeah, because there's like the trampling thing.
Trampling, sensual domination. There's foot fetish. There's ass worship.
What kind of domination? I'm sorry, what?
Sensual domination. That's energy play. That takes the sadism out of it. So the masochist doesn't really. They're not a true masochist. They're more of a hedonist. So they like to receive and give pleasure rather than actually receive pain. So but still submit to the female supremacy and submit to, or male supremacy. There's male doms out there.
Do you find that most of the people that like that kind of lifestyle are ones that are in a power position, like in their real life, as though it's like a alter ego kind of thing, like they want to see like
sometimes,
yeah, or
sometimes. I've been surprised many times throughout my career. There's people that you would never even imagine would be interested in having their balls tied up and kicked, or there's people that have tickling fetishes. It's so opposite ends of the spectrum. You can't really pinpoint it most of the time.
And I guess if I asked you now, like, what was the weirdest thing someone asked you, you probably couldn't even think of something.
Oh no, I would say that the weirdest thing that someone asked me to do is needle play. And needle play is a derivative of medical play. Medical play can be multiple things, using speculums, just medical tools, and then it can go into the darker side of things where you're actually inserting needles, where you're, piercing people, and so that's probably the most extreme thing.
Well, isn't there castration too?
Castration and gelding, yeah.
So that's like a fetish also. So.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of men that don't feel like they're even worthy of having the parts that they were given, so they just want to lop them right off. And why not go to a sexy woman to do that? So,
and so that's like a thing, but it's not like what you think, where they just like take it.
Oh no,
it's not like bloody and messy and just
it
makes their balls shrivel up.
Right, yeah, that's actually gelding, yeah. So you wouldn't want to. You cut off that little connection and they just kind of shrivel away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And then, but what got you into that kind of line of work? Was it just
honestly? I'm a very alpha personality as it is, but being 6 feet tall, slender, put together, I had so many people were like, "Oh, you're a dom, aren't you? You're a dom." Blah, blah, blah.
You're like,
how much does it pay? I fought against it for so long because I didn't look at the reality of the lifestyle, and I only saw the stigmas attached to it, and so it was one of those situations where you're never going to know something unless you give it, your best shot. So I tried it, and I did really well at it. Yeah. And I liked it. It's a great therapy for both parties.
You can just take out all your man drama on
exactly.
It's
about 70-40 being a therapist and then being a sex worker. So and I say sex worker lightly because that is the technical term for it. You are in the adult industry. You are like participating with people's intimacies, and so you kind of have to. But there's different levels. Obviously, some girls are okay with doing certain things, and then other girls are not.
Different lines.
Right, yeah, and that's just hard limits all around the table. Everybody, even as a dom, I had hard limits.
Has anyone ever asked you to do something that you were like?
Yeah, I'm not going to be a scat queen. I won't shit on your chest. I'm not going to piss in your mouth.
Is that what a scat queen
fart
is?
in your face.
That's what a scat queen is.
A scat queen, yes. They enjoy the fecal. Fancies, yeah.
The fecal
fancies, and it's so disgusting. Yeah, I personally can't. It's unsanitary. It's terrible. I
Yeah,
can't
I
even
know.
imagine. So.
And that's a real big world of that.
Huge world. Toilet play, all that stuff is toilet slavery. I did dabble in that a little bit, where I would make a slave lick the toilet clean. Of course, I'm not so sadistic that I wouldn't have cleaned it myself beforehand anyway.
Yeah.
So,
That's nice of you.
but yeah, that bleach still doesn't taste too good.
And they just like to be emasculated. It's just what it boils down to.
Sometimes they like the challenge. I mean, and on top of just fetish in general, I used to say I was a dom and fetish specialist, because there's, with mixed wrestling, it's not really about me dominating the guy and telling him what a small man he is or what a piece of shit I think he is. It's about getting him to submit on a collegiate wrestling level. And, you know, yes, you've got guys that just want to roll around with a hot girl and like get pinned because they're like, oh no, you're so strong. But most of the time they have like a true affinity for wrestling. They really love all about it. So they just kind of want to bring it to that next level.
Yeah, I dabbled in that with somebody. I think that we was a mutual
yeah,
friend.
we've
He's like
been
an
there.
old man, and he had like a hurt shoulder.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you could probably take me, but like I'm gonna try. And he's trying to like teach us different wrestling holds.
Well,
like,
and with
it was
that,
a genuine wrestling.
right.
Like, yeah.
And with him, it was more of a
Sexual.
financial thing as well, because he would
We would bet.
throw down
Yeah.
and he'd bet with you, and he knew he was gonna lose,
Right.
you know. But he has this like
Competitive
little
kind of.
confident thing about him, yeah. And it's adorable. It's so endearing to see them when they act tough. But then you get them behind closed doors, and they're like, "Yes, mistress. Yes, madam."
I know. So do you have like slaves? Do you have like different slaves for different things in the house? So I'd be like, okay, this slave does the dishes. And
That
this
would be a stable, and
A stable.
a stable, yes.
with
It's-
steeds.
yes.
Okay.
A stable, you would have like someone bringing you your breakfast, lunch, and
So they would like
dinner,
all
and
live there, and
generally there's an outside house for them. If you're at that level where you can have
there are.
in-home slaves.
And there are women that
Oh,
are.
absolutely, absolutely. But
And then the slaves go out and make money to pay for the house, and then she just
Right.
stands there and tells them what to do when they get home.
right, yeah, it's fun. But I mean, it's the same thing as a harem, you know.
Right.
It's
It's
just dudes, yeah, if you want to call them that, I guess. But yeah, you got, I mean, cuckolds as well. Cuckolding is a very common fetish that a lot of people.
So explain to the viewers at home.
Cuckold.
Okay, say it a little slow. Linger. So
Cuck.
cock, like
Cuck.
cuck. Okay, cuck holding.
Cuckolding.
Okay, all right.
It is.
Is that right?
Say I was married and my husband just really, really, really wanted to give me everything. Everything. So he lets me go out and find a boy toy to play with, because he gets off on watching me get fucked by someone else. So they sit there, they're put in chastity, they're locked away, they're put down, and they're forced to watch their lover or their partner be taken by another man.
With bondage always included. That's what makes
Sometimes.
it cuckolding and not voyeurism, right? Because
Voyeurism is different. Voyeurism is when you're watching without the knowledge of them knowing they're being watched.
There's one-way mirror.
You know, with like a pervert and like the
In
guy
the
who
closet,
who's like fapping, right, locker room style stuff. You know, that's voyeurism at its finest. Yeah, glory holes are different. Yeah, glory holes are way different. That's like a drive-through for sex, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Thankfully, I never went to that side of things, and I don't say that with any kind of hatred or malice towards that industry at all. But you know, like I said before, we all have our limits. So,
so it's very similar. Then this cuckolding thing is that like all swingers are pretty much without, because that's the difference is the bondage. Is that what?
No, well, just because someone's cuckolded doesn't mean that they're necessarily in bondage. Chastity is different. Chastity is where you lock up the male organ in a metal cage or
a chastity belt.
Chastity, yeah.
Okay.
So, and females have chastity as well. Generally, they're a lot harder to do though, and they require 6 labial piercings.
What?
So they're.
So it's actually locked into your.
It's actually locked into, and it covers your clit. It covers the opening. It covers.
So
everything.
nobody's getting it out without.
Nobody.
Like blood will be.
Right. Yeah. You'd have to take out the piercings completely.
And there's people that do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a beautiful. It's beautiful. It looks beautiful. I'm not gonna lie about
6
that.
piercings on the labial.
But the way that it's all put together, it's very, very interesting and beautiful in its own right.
Like
but
a shibari or something,
right,
which is
kind
the
of.
ancient
Shibari.
art of rope tying, by the way.
Right. Yeah, so you know what you're talking about. Why are you interviewing me? So, yeah, I mean, cuckolding is not, you don't have to have them tied up. And swinging is something completely different. Generally, that is literally just open sharing of both parties. So, my husband would be going with so-and-so's wife or so-and-so's husband.
So it's not all done in the same room.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. You know,
Parties.
It really depends.
With the fishbowl, right?
Yeah,
in like the 70s.
the wild orgies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't drink the blue Kool-Aid kind of situation. Yeah.
What's in the blue Kool-Aid?
Well, you know, Viagra wasn't invented yet, so they had to do something, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, it
takes a certain type of person. It's just because they love their spouse so much, they just want to see him happy regardless of
that, or, you know, sometimes, you know, when you deal with older couples, men stop working, women stop working, you know, at a certain point, everybody just kind of shuts down, and if somebody's not ready to shut down, and you've been with that person for however long, I can, you know,
go somewhere else. I still love you.
Or not even go somewhere else. Just do you support? It's a very intricate. There's, like I said, it's so much psychology attached to it, and it's so finicky. It's a fickle business for sure. You got to really watch what you say, and everybody's very opinionated. You know, they all think that their type of kink is the right kink, and
wow.
It gets a little saucy sometimes.
Is there like slaves that will just mail you money, or like is there like
that's financial domination, and that's generally.
That's the one I want to do. Tell you that. We've got
generally
you'll
have lots of men that have been just spending their entire time working. They have been through marriages, or they're with a wife that doesn't support them or respect them or whatever. Or they're married into that for that reason, so that they can take care of that girl because she's beautiful and whatever. So I think a little bit of it is the power that they have over you, because they feel like they created you. They feel like they brought
you can't live
to,
without them.
Right. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I think financial domination is a terrible form of domination. It's a cop-out, it's begging, and it's what a lot of the younger doms, the baby doms, go to right away.
Baby doms.
The baby doms, they go straight to it because it's easy. And it's easy to say, I'm so fucking hot, give me your money. And these guys are like, okay, duh. Like, and
it's too easy.
It's setting a new precedent for people like myself, or people like that have been in the industry for, you know, a decade, or even, it doesn't really matter, but it's setting a new level of expectation, and it's unfortunate. That's all I can say. It's just a very unfortunate form of domination.
And is it dangerous to be a dom? Like, do you ever go somewhere and like guys try to lock you, or?
Well, I mean, it is still a sex worker position, and it is still frowned upon in so many ways.
So you bring escorts with you and stuff.
Escorts, but
ensure your safety.
But the bigger thing that we worry about is police presence, and that is because you know, there's lots of. What I did was nothing ever sexual. There was no penetration. There were no hand jobs. There were no foot jobs. There were no blow jobs. None of that stuff.
No jobs at all.
No jobs. No jobs were being performed. But I was, you know, still putting these people in chastity, and there is still a small amount of general contact at times, depending upon the fetish. So yeah, if you hire me or you session with me for a ball busting fetish, I'm gonna kick you in the nuts. It's gonna, you know, and so that contact automatically considered prostitution.
Because it's of a sexual nature,
right? And there's genital contact.
But how is getting kicked in the balls a sexual nature? If you're like, if you're,
trust me,
yeah. Well, for some people,
you can definitely still ejaculate even when you're kicked in the nuts. And
I wonder where that comes from. That people want that.
You know, I've heard multiple different things. A lot of it is just curiosity. A lot of it is people really are wired differently. A lot of people are wired very uniquely, and you've got people that don't have certain nerve endings or whatever, so they have to kind of go for it. But
wow.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like a girl who likes rough sex. You know, eventually she's going to want to be tied up. Eventually she's going to want to be choked. Eventually she's going to want to be, you know, it
evolves.
It's that.
Start somewhere.
The steps and stuff, and so you kind of do have to be careful and not get too deep into it and too lost. Otherwise you're going to end up using yourself up, and you're not going to find any sexual pleasure anywhere. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to pitch today that you have going on that you want to tell people about, or any like websites or anything you want to?
The only new and exciting thing is that I've recently retired from the industry, and so it's.
So now you're looking for.
Now I'm kind of just running around. I'm going to be jumping back into my modeling more, promo.
What else can people hire you
acting. I love it.
Amazing actress. We've done a lot of stuff together, and she is amazing. Yeah, you're a great actress, great promo. I've hired her for a million things, and she shows up on time, does a good job, trust around the clients. No, it's good. So let's hire her. So, well, thank you. I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to do this until the end of the show.
Okay, I can go with that.
Every guest. I don't care. Man,
what if you have a guy on the show?
It doesn't matter.
Do you have to shake their face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, Sin City Secrets. We will see you next week. I don't know.
I said too many crazy things.
Yes, we have more. So, see you next time. Thank you for joining us, Sin City Secrets. Bye-bye.
Bye.